Hey loves, welcome back to TigeraGitana. My name is Abby, and today we're going to be talking about prophetic dreams. And this is a patron voted video. I cannot state it enough how they've been doing such a great job at picking different topics every week that we can discuss and talk about on the YouTube. The poll for the next weeks is going to be going up soon so they can vote on a next week's topic. But I'm excited to talk about this one. So we're going to be talking about three things that you need to do before you start trying to do prophetic dreams, prophetic dreaming, and trying to channel in that information on a regular basis. So this is like the prerequisite to, okay, go ahead and go do it situation. And the first thing that you need to do before you start to kind of integrate the idea of, okay, hey, I want to start dabbling into prophetic dreaming, is that you need to work with your third eye. That is the first thing. You need to make sure that it is open, that it is healthy, that it is in a really good space. And the reason why this is important, because third eye work is crucial for intuition development, for vision and purpose, and also for recalling dreams. You retain those messages in with your third eye. You're able to separate dreams from truth with your third eye. The healthier your third eye is, the more messages you can get from your dreams itself. So it's really about making sure you're maintaining your third eye health. And this is something that tends to be a little bit difficult because a lot of people mainly try to focus on their lower chakras. Anything past the midway point of the heart chakra is what they try to focus on. So money, success, sex, family, things that need to be you need to react to on a day-to-day. And they kind of neglect the upper chakras, which tend to have a lot of blockages because people just don't address it, don't focus on it, don't do a lot of healing work from it. It does take a lot of healing on the third chakra to be able to kind of positively use it in a way where it's just like, it's a tool. It turns into okay, my third chakra's open. I can see right through this. I know what's happening. My intuition told me this. I had a dream yesterday and this is what I saw. And then boom, there it is. It takes a little bit of, I would say, practice to get it there. But some people kind of tend to navigate through the realm of prophetic dreaming a little bit more naturally. This comes from, it really depends how, for me, my family was the biggest one for prophetic dreaming. It is a practice that runs through my mom's side of the family. We do it very regularly. I've mentioned this before on the channel. We actively talk about dreams all the time. My sister, I called her today and she was just like, you were in my dream last night and this happened. So we're always talking about dreams. We're always analyzing them. We're always having a lot of prophetic dreams. And it's a really, it tells you how, even though we're not saying, oh, this is like a third eye thing, it's more like a specific branch of the third eye as far as dream work goes, but we put a lot of focus into that space at that time. But within my just growing up, that was always something that was open. And a lot of people, they grow up in your third eye and being intuitive or being emotional and being able to sense things tends to be something that's just shunned or why are you, what, no, focus on this, do that, whatever. And it just gets kind of, it becomes something that's not, oh, you shouldn't even be thinking about this, you shouldn't be focusing on this is not, something that you need to make a priority, even though it's a really, really cool tool to use. So for the first one, it needs to be third eye health. Before you start prophetic dreaming, you need to make sure you have a healthy third eye. I cannot overstress it enough. I'm saying do Reiki, sound healing. Get your crystals on, start wearing them, start doing morning meditations where it's just third eye activation. You need to make sure you have a healthy third eye, because yes, you can start doing different things to trigger prophetic dreaming, and then you're dreaming and then you're not retaining the message or being able to see what the message is because your third eye is like pretty much halfway blocked and you can't really see what's the actual bigger picture, what you actually need to understand from this dream, what is going on, what things are at play, who is at play, who needs to know about this dream, like what is happening. So because of that, third eye, it really emphasizes power, retention, and being able to see what is actually going on in a situation. It is that which we know to be true. This is why it goes hand in hand with intuition and intuition development. So you need to make sure before you do prophetic dreaming, you need to make sure your third eye chakra is on point. Okay, I said what I said. Don't fight me on this. Or not, you're just gonna have a really hard time knowing if some dreams are true and some dreams are not. That's one of the faults of not having a healthy third eye chakra and then doing prophetic dreaming, is that you think that every dream you have is going to come to life and that's it, and that's it. That was the message, that every single dream you have is going to happen. Like, it's not factual. So it's really, really important to have a healthy third eye chakra. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, once you've done number one, because number one is probably the most important thing that you can do as far as the prereq goes. Number two is to work with herbs that sensitize you to prophetic dreaming, okay? And this is one that gets talked about to do during the process, but it's something that you should integrate before you actually set the intention that that's what you want to do. Why? Because you want to get your body to feel comfortable with those herbs already, and those, you know, the things that you're consuming. You want your body to make sure they are sensitive to them. And this is like the most common spoken about herbs in regards to like prophetic dreaming are always like lavender and mugwort. You can also use jasmine and roses as well to trigger prophetic dreaming, and before you actually decide to do the work. But it is also really good to, again, use those herbs to bring it into your body, because your body, we're majorly water, okay? And if you're drinking a tea that's specifically for dream work, for prophetic dreaming, and you're feeding your DNA, your water, you're bringing in this plant medicine into your body, and you're saying, okay, I'm bringing it into the space. This is something that I'm welcoming in. It's just kind of like reading tarot. Like, you don't just go from, I bought a tarot deck, to I'm gonna read everybody and I know exactly what I'm doing. There's still like a learning process. There's an integration process. And this is what I mean with the herbs and the plants that you're taking in. You want to make sure that you are maybe like a week before you decide to actually call in the message, or maybe a month before, however long you feel the need to do it, just pause and be like, okay, I'm gonna just start taking rose lavender tea or rose mugwort tea for like a good solid week, seeing how it makes me feel. Right before I go to sleep, I'll see how it makes me feel. I'm not gonna ask for anything to come in, and for that solid week, I'm just gonna pay attention to what comes through and see how my body feels after I take it. Once I've already taken it, setting the intention that it is for dreaming specifically, because again, these herbs can be used for multiple things. So you want to make sure you're setting the intention while you're drinking it for that specific purpose. So you want to make sure you're integrating these plant medicines, especially because a lot of people don't pay attention to what effects this has on you spiritually. And because plant medicine is so important, working with herbs so important, working with the energy from herbs, they have a lot of power and different abilities that you can use. So you want to make sure you're using them accordingly, and you want to kind of like take your medicine and then see the progress over a long period of time, because it's just like, you know, taking your medicine. That's why it's called plant medicine. You're taking medicine and you're seeing the results over a period of time. Sometimes you can see quick results, and sometimes you will see results over a certain period of time. But it is important for you to kind of take it seriously and put your body, your physical body, because that's what you're feeding, and that is a vessel that you're asking for these messages, these dreams to come through in the right, you know, ambience of sorts, so you can be receiving of these messages. So that's number two. Make sure you are consuming these herbs beforehand. Now, number three, because this is very much of a, you know, you're doing third eye work, you're doing some plant medicine in here, the number 3 has to be one that you can do not only before and while you're doing this process, but afterwards while you're already doing prophetic dreaming. And that is having a dream journal. I cannot overstate this enough. Now, I've gotten myself to the point where I personally don't have a dream journal because I actually remember all of my dreams. All of my dreams. I remember all of my dreams. I write them here and there on my actual, like, I have different journals, different things that I like have, but I'll write them like as messages from spirit and different things that I do, like in that format. Occasionally when I feel like, okay, you know what, I want to make sure that on this date I have wrote this down. Before, like my whole entire life, I always just remember my dreams because, again, I have such a heavy practice in dream work since I was little. It's just it just runs in my family. So I've already do a lot of dream work. I put a lot of focus on my dreams. I make sure that I got myself to the point where I can do dream work and prophetic dreaming without having to do any of these steps that I just told you. Well, besides the third eye situation, but that I just told you, because I don't need to necessarily take in herbs in order for me to trigger that within myself. I can already do it without having to do that, just by setting the intention, or not even not setting the intention, because spirit just likes to come into my dreams sometimes. So there's also that element. But I cannot overstate this enough. If you are not a person that has done dream work before, you want to have a dream journal. So even though I don't have one, doesn't mean that you shouldn't. Okay, do as I say, not as I do, kind of moment. But the reason why it's important to have dream journals is once you start doing all this third eye activation situation, you want to start to write down what you're seeing, how sensitive you are, what things you're hearing, what like different animals are coming up, even glimpses and things that have been coming up in your dreams themselves. You want to pay attention to, because you want to really make sure that you're getting as much information as you can. And because a lot of prophetic dreaming has to do with, and even dreams in themselves has to do with analyzing the dreams, you want to make sure you're already writing down, okay, you know what, this is how I'm feeling today, this is how I felt after I woke up, I had this strange feeling, and blah, 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 etc., etc. Like, it's really important for you to have that, like, start, like, writing it down. And even while you're doing, like, the plant medicine portion and making sure you're consuming your teas right before you go to sleep, how you feel after you took them, how you feel when you wake up, what effects it's having on your body, what effects you think it's having on your chakras themselves. Using the crystals as well. How do you feel after using them? How long did you use it for? Do you want to carry it more often? Do you feel like you need to? Like, all of these different things, you put this in your dream journal. Now, I guess I'm going to do like a little bonus round for, you know, just for the sake of it, but there should be a fourth one as far as prerequisite of what you know, should do before you start prophetic dreaming. And astrologically speaking, you should be looking at your 12th house. Okay, you need to look at what, first of all, you need to look at where Neptune is falling in your chart, which house is falling in, what sign is in Neptune, and also what sign is in your 12th house, and if it's being aspected in any way, shape, or form. This is really important because some people will have trouble actively dreaming themselves, depending on what sign you have in your 12th house. Your 12th house is ruled by Pisces, and Pisces rules dreams, creativity, all of these other things that we're just not going to get into. And Neptune rules Pisces, therefore it rules all of those things. But you want to focus on your Neptune sign because of the dreaming, and you want to focus on the 12th house because that is how you're getting and receiving your messages from. So it is very critical that you pay attention to the sign, because you might have a little bit more of a struggle with some signs versus others. If your 12th house is in a water sign, mine is in Cancer, so I don't have a problem because it's already in a water sign. It complements the energy of that house, and it's I'm not gonna go ahead and break it on my chart for you guys, but if it's in a water sign, that's good. If it's in Scorpio, you're definitely digging in deep as far as like prophetic dreaming goes, I'll tell you that much. But if it's like, for example, in a fire sign, that might be a little bit tough to work with, because like, for example, Aries, I've found over time that reading different people's charts, that if you have like a Aries in the 12th house or something like that, you tend to wake up very quickly. You tend to either have dreams, but you come out of it so quickly that you just forget them. So it tends to be a little bit more of a struggle because your fire is kind of fighting the water a little bit, and it's just like you're just coming out of it a little bit quickly. Depending on, again, how much work it is that you do, because there's a level to all of this. So bear with me. But if you have it in a fire sign, again, you might have some issues there. If you have it in like Sag, you might not have that many issues, just because Sag will be like that sign that wants to like know everything. So it really depends, but it's really the element that matters. If it's mutable, you should be okay, because again, like Pisces is a mutable sign, so you should be okay like with a Sag there. But some of the other signs you might kind of find a little bit of a struggle connecting. You might, if you have an earth sign in your 12th house, you should be using herbs to trigger prophetic messages, because you have to work with that water and earth energy as far as elemental magic goes. If you have fire, it's definitely, again, it's going to be a tough one, but it's just about assessing what you can do. If you're a fire sign, the questions you want to ask, like as far as fire in the 12th house goes, do you have dreams, period? Because I also find that they don't have dreams a lot of the time, which makes it a little bit tough. It just means that your energy is more focused on other places, and that's totally fine. It might not just be, this might not be the modality that's for you. Maybe you just need to do something else, which is totally okay as well. Like, not everybody needs to do prophetic dreaming, but this is just to give you guys some enlightening clues as to kind of how to work with that energy. If you're an air sign in the 12th house, you shouldn't have too much problems dreaming, unless if you're a Libra, you might have some issues with it, just because, again, a lot of the cardinal signs tend to want to run out of things really quickly. So you just have to watch out like how you already react to what it is that you're trying to do. If you are an earth sign in the 12th house, you might actually do a lot of dreaming actually there, just because you might do a lot of daydreaming too. It just really depends. It depends on the personal chart itself, but you do want to look at what sign is in there, because it'll give you a hint of how you can best work with it. If you have a water sign in the 12th house, you fine. You just need to do more work in that space, personally speaking. And just relatively speaking, you just need to do more work in that specific space. So I hope that this was helpful, and don't forget to check out the Patreon. I just put up the monthly poll for the monthly community spell, and I'm really excited for next month, because I think we're going to collectively pick a really powerful spell. And we're still working on a lot of things over there, so I'm just really excited to continue to grow and build with you guys. And yeah, I'm really excited. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell so you get notified every time I post, okay? So you don't miss out any of the good stuff. And don't forget to check out my Instagram and Twitter as well, for updates and such as they come. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.